Zadze, parry riposte on the back line.
The parry riposte is fencing in its purest form. Defend yourself, then punish the opponent. Hit and avoid being hit, the fundamental principle of fencing. The other day I asked on Instagram who people thought were the best at parrying, and from these responses I've put together this little list. Now obviously the history of Sabre is very long, but I'm only really looking at fencers from the last 15 years or so, mostly because that's where we have the most video footage from. But obviously it's worth mentioning all the Pozniakovs, Nazlimovs, Sharikovs, etc. If you've got any older fencers that you can think of, I'd love to see them in the comments. It's not really possible to do a proper ranking of all these, so I'm just going to go through some of the contenders and then rank the top 3 men and women. Caceres was perhaps not one of the most consistent fencers, but he pulled off some very spectacular parries. Spanish fencers often have really strong blade work with a touch of flair, and Caceres was a really perfect example of that. It should be fairly obvious by now that this is one of my favourite fencers. She has such confidence in her defence. She's not exactly classical in her technique, but Cecilia Berder has one of the strongest hands in the game. Yakimenko, the mad Russian, would be a strong choice for the top 3. He had some absolutely dominant spells in his career and plenty of outrageous parries too. At times he just had this ridiculous confidence on defence that must be really off-putting for the attacker. Imura doesn't look too often for parries in the middle of a piece, but when she does, they usually work. It's not just about how good you are at a particular action, it's about knowing when to use it, and I think Misaki Imura is a really good example of this. Dom Sates never actually made an individual podium in his career, but parries were really at the very centre of his game. There are a few bouts that he won where it really felt like he could parry absolutely everything. He's definitely a personal favourite of mine. There are a lot of Russians in this video. I felt I really had to include 2016 Olympic champion Yana Igorian somewhere. She's obviously an all-round incredible fencer, and parries are definitely a big part of her game. The Koreans have a reputation for physicality, but they are generally far more technical fencers than people give them credit for. Oh Sang-uk in particular can pull out some insane parries. His hand is just so tidy and efficient, it just feels so unfair that he can do all this on top of being able to lunge like 14 meters. Balzer has been the dominant fencer for the last 2 seasons. Her counterattacks are really what stands out, but she can be really strong on the blade too. Her parry riposte in the middle can be really vicious. For me, Montano is one of the most elegant fencers of the last 20 years. Combining power with control and crisp blade actions, he has to be on this list somewhere. Just look at this jump second against Silegi, a move that is normally outrageous and flashy, and yet when Montano does it, it just seems to have a certain style to it.
That's only like the second one he got. The Reshetnikov special.
2013 world champion Veniamin Reshetnikov was a master of the parry riposte. His tierce parry in particular was incredible. I think what made him so strong at these parries was the way he would always take them at the optimal distance, just close enough to draw the attack in, but far enough to be safe. He described in his youth how on the long train journey from Novosibirsk to Moscow, he would practice parrying with his coach using a rolled up newspaper. This one might be a bit of a controversial choice considering that she hasn't even broken into the top 16 yet, but I'm putting Maya Chamberlain here purely based on the quality of these parries. She just pulls some off which are completely outrageous, kind of parries that no one else really seems to take these days, so she really has to get some extra points for style. Kovalev won the 2014 World Championships, convincingly beating Gubongil in the final. There was something so satisfying about the way he won this match, completely dominating nearly every touch, even taking parries after his attack had landed, which weren't even really necessary. Throughout his career, he scored a lot of these counter ripostes, which are so crisp. Velikaya was one of those fencers who just made everything look effortless. She dominates the blade with ease, parrying on both offense and defense, often with an almost casual indifference, which must be pretty terrifying to face. There could only really be one man at the top of this list. Silagi is the modern poster child for perfect blade work. He makes everything look so effortless. His body is just so relaxed even when moving at high speeds.
Now has the right of way and chases down the long attack. Oh my goodness me, what a way to do it!
If there was some corny fencing anime or video game, Silagi's Prime Parry would definitely be one of those legendary moves that the main character has to unlock after doing some sort of training montage.
To retake the lead.
Oh, lovely.
Olga Harlan is a strong contender for the Sabre fencing GOAT. She has too many medals to count, it's just ridiculous. She is the complete package both on attack and defense, so obviously she is an easy pick for the #1 spot here. This touch against Smirnova is just perfection, opening the line then parrying so strongly that the opponent drops her Sabre.
Parry riposte from Olga Harlan. What a hit that was.
So there we have it, guys. Thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoy the videos. If you are, I'd really appreciate it if you were to take a look at joining the Patreon. I have a growing catalogue of exclusive fencing content you can access for only $3 a month. Anyway, cheers, thanks for watching, bye.
Cheers, Korean folks. Lift that torso wide open, and Korea.
Nice parry riposte. A little bit out of balance, but
He was already.